It's your girl Jade Feinics here after a very long hiatus. How you doing? What's going on? And I am not alone. Fortunately, we did have to send Josh Feinics. He's on vacation. He's doing what he has to do. He'll be checking in on occasion. But I am with my new partner in crime, Lithy. Say hello.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
And of course, the man with the plan, the only person that I trust to help me with anything when it comes to this podcast, Mr. Oh So Smooth!
Oh, thank you, Dude. Thank you so much. you really don't have to clap for me. It's okay. It's all right.
No.
Thank you so much.
No. But yeah, so ladies and germs, we have been gone and for a while, and we are actually up to episode 45.
45.
I know.
45.
It's great. I mean, this is the first episode of 2020. Granted, it is February. But, you know, life happens. This is what goes on. And what has everybody been up to? How was your holidays? What's going on?
I mean, holidays were great for me. New job, new everything for me. This, joining in and, this wonderful podcast. And I've been actually watching last year, when I could, not going to say every day, but when I could. Usually it was like when I was like late at work and I was like, my phone was in the corner and I was like, what are they doing? Oh my God. Okay.
What are they talking about
What are they doing? Oh shoot, my boss, But, this is, January was a little, rocky for me, but other than that, everything's smoothing out. So I'm happy to be here and happy to join in and give everything that I can.
Mr. Oh So Smooth, you got some big additions.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a daughter.
I know, so good. I can't wait to meet my niece.
Yes, she's great. She screams a lot, and she shits. So she does what babies do.
She does what babies do.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously second rounds.
Oh, no, yeah, we're still going strong.
Oh, yeah.
Still going strong.
So, guys, if you have not and not ever listened, you need to go and check out the Second Rounds podcast and also Alex A-Town Ryan's podcast.
With the subs.
And you just started a new one as well?
Yes, we got the Prism, me, Mr. Malave, and Lex on decks.
And how do we find all these?
You could just Google us, Second Rounds, that's 2ND Rounds. We're now on Anchor, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Google Play. I mean, I could go down the whole thing, but yeah, we're pretty much anywhere.
We're everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yes. Well, you could still find us on our Instagram, our Facebook. We still have it on Podbean, and we still have all the wonderful Spotify, everywhere. We're everywhere as well. So look for us everywhere. Give us a follow. We're doing the T-shirt challenge on our Instagram right now, and we are always looking for fan submissions. So it's a 365 challenge that we're trying to post a T-shirt or a tank top every single day, and we're always looking for new submissions from our fans. We love you guys, so give us a like and a follow, and then also keep in touch. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, new things are coming for you, and they will only be found on the YouTube, so you have to subscribe.
Yes. And speaking of the T-shirt challenge, I have my, driver picks the music, shotgun shuts his cake-hole shirt.
That's
Supernatural,
right.
yes.
That's right.
One of my favorite shows, yes.
Of all time.
Yes.
This woman beats me in Supernatural trivia because I've watched it. I am not obsessed with it. She is obsessed.
I mean, most of the Supernatural fans out there, yes, I know. I do have the tattoo. And I even went through excessive links or excessive thought process of where I put it. So, yes, I'm a little obsessed.
Just a smidge.
It's a good show, though.
It is.
It is.
And it's so sad it's ending.
It is, but it's about time.
I'm not ready for that yet.
Sometimes you got to accept it.
I got to
She's processing.
I got to go through the grieving stages.
No more Jensen Ackles.
Oh, no, Jensen Ackles will find something else to do. And
he will.
Isn't Jared Padalecki, isn't he going to be like, what is
Walker.
it, Walker, Texas Ranger?
He's going to be Walker.
I don't know how, I'm just going to, okay, Sam, I know you're doing your own thing, but that's
Moose
my
has got to
my
do
process.
what he's got to do.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
But if you're listening, good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great job, guys.
Great job. I mean, honestly, I'm not a super fan, but I'm definitely a fan.
I actually, I purchased a T-shirt. This was a long time ago. I purchased a T-shirt for Jared and Misha's. It was like you're never alone. Forgot the word, but you purchase a t-shirt and then you're entered into a contest of like, oh, you get to do a Skype call. And I was like, I'm just doing it for the, their charity and everything else like that. Then I got an email saying, oh, you won. Congratulations. I'm like, what did I win? And the Skype call. And I actually, a few months later, had a Skype call with Jared and Misha. And then all of a sudden, Jensen, I'm sorry. And then, all three of them, this is an exciting story for me. So all three of them just came in. They're like, hey, what's going on? And it was like a 7-minute conversation with Jared, Jensen, and Misha while they were like in the room of the metal letters. It was awesome.
I'm sure you were geeking out and trying to keep your composure.
Oh, yeah. My mom did most of the talking. I was just like, oh my God, you're on the screen. And if you do look on my Instagram, I do have a selfie of me with them on the Skype scroll. So it's like all of us are like, right there.
And what's your Instagram handle so people can go and see that?
Lithy's cosplay on Instagram.
There we go. Yes, if you can't tell, Lithy is one of my cosplay fam.
I've been a little out of commission, but I'm getting back into it a little bit. I'm getting ideas.
Life. Like, honestly, I haven't been to a convention since Anime NYC, which was in November. So, I mean, I'll be at Monster Mania for all you travelers that are coming to Monster Mania in New Jersey in March. It's the weekend of my birthday. Come say hello to me. But I will be at Monster Mania for that weekend. So come say hello and get a free Feinics Gate pin.
Yes. Yep. And show us your t-shirts.
Yes, show us your t-shirts so I can put them on the Instagram.
Yes, and if they're really good, I'll get them.
It's true.
That's what she said.
I like it. So we will not be having Epic Beer Snobbery because Josh Feinics is not here. So we're just going to roll right into the punches, and we will be talking. I've been talking about this since last year. I wanted to do 90s nostalgia on the cast. I love the 90s is like, I was born in 1985. But I remember the 90s. I can remember some of the 80s, and I have a fond appreciation for 80s cartoons and stuff like that. But the 90s...
The 90s was where it's at.
The 90s is where I remember 99% of everything that went down. And, like, we were introduced to so many good things. So, obviously, this is going to become a series covering different things in the 90s. And tonight's installment is 90s cartoons and some food items that you can no longer get.
Oh, my God.
So...
I think I have one in my head already.
Oh yeah, so why don't you just throw it out there?
Probably the obvious one. Too.
Yeah, throw it out there. What's in your head?
Was it what was it? The Altoids, the Altoids
not the obvious one.
Oh, the Altoid sour candies.
The sour candies.
Those were good.
The mango was amazing. I remember when my father was in the picture, my parents were divorced. I'm a very blunt person. My parents were divorced at 3. I was born 91. So the end of the 90s was where my memory really comes into play. But I remember every other weekend we would go to 7-Eleven. I'd be like, Dad, let's get Altoids. And my dad was like, Kate, those are not real candies. I'm like, but they're great. At that point, I never really had one. But then I had the mango one, and I was like, this is really great. The
best part I remember about that, though, is you could never get the tin open without it exploding.
Yeah. And you would, lose, 5 Altoids. You're like, no, save the survivors. And it was, but still, that candy was amazing.
Do you guys remember, since we're on candy, do you remember Warheads?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they still have them.
I know, but, the old school Warheads that had the liquid in the middle.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The one that were really sour.
They started off sour, and then when you hit the liquid center, you were like, "Dah!"
You're, puckering your lips,
just dying,
whoa.
just dying.
You feel it, right on the tongue, and you get that,
Yowie wowie!
And it's, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, those were pretty good. They came in all sorts of different flavors, and now people would be screaming about high fructose corn syrup is not good for you. It gives you cavities. It gave me cavities back then too. I don't care.
And we still survived. We're still here today. Mm-hmm. So relax with your high fructose corn syrup.
Pretty much. What was your favorite candy in the 90s, Mr. Oh So Smooth?
Sour straws. Oh. I was always a big fan of sour straws. I used to call them Chris's because my Uncle Chris used to actually be the one that brought it to me and used to buy it for me all the time. So I used to call it Chris's. And I still, to this day, eat them.
Nice.
And I eat them to the point where I get the sweet tooth. You know, like when you try to eat something else and you get like that weird feeling in your mouth.
Yeah.
That intense, high, tense feeling in the side of your mouth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I don't
that
like that
scratchy feeling on the top of the roof of your mouth that tells you, okay, I had a little bit too much sugar crystals.
Yeah, but it feels good though. Like not the feeling part, the fact that you ate all of them and you know they taste delicious.
Yeah, they do. I think my favorite candy of the 90s, though, that was introduced in the 90s was Baby Pops.
Oh my God.
You know, where you would have like the lollipop on the top, and then you could dip it in the little powder,
shake it.
Yeah, and that was my favorite. I loved
It was very similar to like Fun Dips.
Yes, but I never liked Fun Dip because I always thought that the little stick tasted like chalk.
It did.
Oh yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, so I could not enjoy the Fun Dip. And then, you know, because we were kids, we would joke around, take Fun Dip out and like cut it up like it was cocaine, like we did with Pixie Sticks. Like this is what the people that grew up in my area did. And then later on, we all turned into drug addicts. Who knew?
Listen, if anybody didn't live in the 90s, if you didn't cut your Pixie Stick like cocaine or snorted it,
Or snorted on a dare.
I remember my stepbrother snorted one, and he just. It's really not a good idea. Like, don't do it because it just goes into your nose. It's, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Did you ever do that growing up? Like, your friends ever dare you?
No. I have seen people do it, but I personally was the one that was like, you know what? I'm okay. I think I'll eat it, though. But I did do the candy cigarettes.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Which sadly brought me to today where now I
smoking.
smoke. But it was also fun because remember the smoke used to come out.
Yes, the powdered sugar. There was a good humor truck that used to come around my neighborhood. And there was this really cool guy, this really cool black guy that would come around in the neighborhood. And every time he saw us kids, he'd always be like, yo, what's up? And we thought we were so cool back then. Like, what's up? Buying our little candy gum cigarettes and Fun Dip and the WWF, because it was WWF back then, ice cream bars.
Remember
God.
those?
Oh, they're bringing them back.
They are.
They're I'm so excited. But my favorite was he had the Italian ices in the yellow cup. And it always had that big sugary syrup bottom layer.
Yes.
So he taught us how to flip it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta flip it over.
They had to flip it, and then you would eat the sugary syrup and then the rest of the ice.
You had a cool guy. Our guy never taught us that.
No, our guy was really, really cool. He loved seeing all the kids in the neighborhood because where I grew up was like kids just like all down the block. You had me and my brother and my sister, and then you had next door to us there was a family of 4 other kids, 2 that were in our age group, 2 that were older, and then you had next to them there was another family with 3 kids, a little bit older than me and then a little bit younger than me. So like, and then also my neighborhood was Whitestone, Queens, and everybody knew everybody else. And all the kids would hang out because I lived across the street from the park where we all hung out.
Yeah.
And where the good humor guy would always come.
Yeah.
So he knew
It's the village.
certain times he would get a ton of business.
Oh, absolutely. See, but you had the cool guy. He taught you like, here's a cool trick. See, and every other weekend it was in Levittown, but we lived on Fireplace Lane, and it was, we had the friends across the street, a couple friends down the block, we'd all get together, and at that point, we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And all this other stuff when it was coming out. It was like the late 90s, 2000s, but still, we still had this like skinny old guy that smoked cigarettes. He's like, what do you want? And you're like, can I have a pack of cigarettes? Like the candy cigarettes? He's like, you better not be smoking this when you're older. And he was cool, but it was, we would sit there and pretend like, oh, we're so cool. We have our cigarettes, and it was just.
How upset did you get when you couldn't puff them anymore?
I think when I couldn't puff them anymore, I just kind of got over it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I need to move on to something else.
You never chewed the gum?
Oh no, of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you guys like? It was great because they don't sell these things anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's not politically correct. It's giving our children a bad idea. Really? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. If you're, like, I understand children are impressionable. I'm not sitting here saying they are not. I've actually tested the theory on my nieces and nephews. But candy cigarettes, we weren't the first ones to have it. I'm pretty sure candy cigarettes have been around since the 50s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Nowadays it's, everyone's a little sensitive, and now everything
You could say
is
it,
like,
they're pussies.
Yeah, okay. Then they're pussies, but that's what this world is coming to, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
It's really sad because, like, the good stuff back then that, it was like, okay. I remember a time, like, if somebody came to my door or if, like, an adult came to my door, my mother would turn around and be like, what did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. Nowadays, it's like kids have more reign, and, it's causing us to really fall apart.
We basically say it. The Zennials and the Generation Z and the New Jacks that are around now are basically assholes. The snowflakes are basically ruining it. Candy and food of the 90s being one of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Even our cartoons are being ruined.
Oh my God.
It's so quick
sad.
sidebar here. Has anybody dared watch Thundercats Go?
No.
I watched a few episodes, but never
the
really.
one that is like the weird Steven Universe kind of animation.
Yeah.
Look, let's not get it twisted. Steven Universe is a great cartoon.
It is. It's great.
It is. But this monstrosity travesty of My Thundercats, how dare you?
Yeah.
If you were going to redo anything, you should have redone that other show that they did, Thundercats, what was it, Eternal, or where they redid everything and everybody was on, you should have redone or at least finished that. But this is what I'm talking about, where they're actually, where I'm going to now segue back into main conversation, they're actually talking about remaking a lot of the 90s cartoons that we grew up with.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified because if this is what you're doing with our 80s cartoons, I mean, She-Ra,
What are you going to do with the 90s?
He-Man,
Yeah.
Thundercats, they even redid Care Bears. My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Let's not get twisted. I love that show. But
exactly.
there are some exceptions to this rule. 90s shows, I believe, should be left untouched.
I think so.
Because
I agree.
It's the last decade where political correctness had not really come into play yet.
Yeah, and it was a decade that, if you were beginning to feel like a snowflake, it was like, okay, either handle it, toughen up, or, if it doesn't offend you, if it offends you, don't look kind of thing. Yeah.
It's you guys, because you're a 91, so I can say it, you're the last generation, like the last couple of years, I would say, that did not get participation trophies. Yeah. We didn't get that, did we?
Mm-hmm.
No, we were told that you suck.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to quote Ricky Bobby, if you're not first, you're last. That's what we were taught.
Yeah.
But they're taught, okay, so quick, let's get into it. Favorite cartoon of the 90s, go. Lithy?
Oh, God. Favorite cartoon of the 90s?
Just like the one that you could watch over and over and over again and never get bored of.
Never get bored. Does it have to be actual cartoon? Is it like cartoon anime?
Cartoon anime, cartoon.
Oh, God. So many. Sailor Moon, definitely one of them. I mean, Sailor Moon was, everything about that show was just
perfection.
Girl that kicks butt, and then you had Inuyasha, which is another 90s anime, which was fantastic.
So say more Nicktoons era. What was your favorite Nicktoon?
Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was really cool for me. I really liked that show, and Doug.
Doug was good?
Doug was good. I never really, because my parents never really let me watch cartoons. I would always watch, it was like the black mark business in my house. I'd have to watch it on the side. They're sleeping, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's on TV? But yeah, it was mostly anime, because I would go over to my friend's house, and they were reign of cartoons and anime, and that's how I could really watch the cartoons. Other than that, I was in books, and my parents really wouldn't let me, sadly, watch cartoons. But
Well, what about you, T?
I mean, most of the shows I watched were more live action. I did watch cartoons, though.
Yeah.
I didn't have that happen to me. my mom and dad allowed me to watch cartoons.
I fought my entire life for that.
You shouldn't have to fight for cartoons,
I
though.
know, but my parents were just...
Maybe nowadays, because it's trash.
Yeah.
But back then, the cartoons were the best. I mean, I was always watching, the adult shows, too, though. I'm talking, Married with Children, Saved by the Bell at that point.
Saved by the Bell is awesome.
Saved by the Bell is awesome.
Awesome.
And they got a reboot, yeah.
Yeah, the reboot.
They're doing the reboot. But you mentioned Nickelodeon. Hey Arnold was definitely a big one. Doug was huge. I personally loved Rugrats.
Yes.
Oh my
God. That was one of my big ones.
Rugrats was amazing.
Plus, my name was in there, Tommy Pickles. So
yeah, you were the leader.
I was the bald-headed one with the diaper.
So let's talk about Rugrats then, because Rugrats was, I would say, one of the first Nicktoons that actually did come out, because they did have a setup where I think it was maybe originally Nickelodeon wanted to branch away, and it was before Nick Jr. But they wanted to branch away from some of the more wholesome cartoons, and they started doing Nicktoons in the afternoons. And I remember that they came out with, it was Rugrats, it was Doug, Ren and Stimpy, and Hey Arnold was the second generation of that. So I actually can't, I'm like blanking on what the fourth one is right now. But
Wasn't
Rugrats.
it like Cat Dog?
Cat Dog was Our Real Monsters was another one.
Yes, yes. I think it was Our Real Monsters that was the first gen. Cat Dog came out after.
Okay.
So Cat Dog actually came out around the same time as Hey Arnold.
Hey, no. Okay.
So, but Rugrats was monumental because, I mean, you see these babies and you get a perspective that you wouldn't think you would get back then, because I mean, we're growing up like Power Rangers and what do you call it, VR Troopers and all those Beetleborgs, all those shows. But then you have this cartoon that, while it's wholesome, quote unquote, it still had some crazy undertones in there.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, we're talking about how back then, women really were supposed to stay home and take care of the kids. These kids, both their parents worked.
Yeah.
So you really didn't see that. So you saw, like, the mom and the dad both had jobs. And then, remember Angelica?
Oh, yeah.
You had the dad. Yeah. You had the dad that was basically the pushover, stay-at-home dad and the power mom. That was unheard of in cartoons.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, like, I think Rugrats was way ahead of its time.
It pushed boundaries, I'll tell you that.
Definitely.
Definitely pushed boundaries.
I mean, you had a mom that people, like, nowadays would swear up and down is a lesbian. But in fact, she was actually just an uber strong feminist.
Yeah.
Because she was married. She had the twins. She was the twins' mom. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember.
Do you?
Was it Judy?
No, Judy, I think, was Tommy's mom.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Stu was the dad.
Stu Pickles was the dad.
I don't know. It's been a while.
Yeah, I know. This is why, like, but either way. So the four main characters in Rugrats were Tommy Pickles, Phil and Lil, and Chucky. So, and of course, Angelica. And later on, as the series progressed, they did add in Susie, and then came the little brother, Dill. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And I like how even though it was a cartoon, they progressed it.
Yes.
So I fully give Nickelodeon props for that. And they are talking about redoing Rugrats.
They are.
I don't know if I'm going to be okay with that. Because remember they tried to do Rugrats all grown up?
Yes. And wasn't my thing.
Oh, God!
It wasn't my thing.
I'm sorry. I could not. I couldn't
do it.
I tried, and I'm just sitting there saying, these kids are this age where I was kind of watching the original Rugrats, so it's kind of hard for me to watch these kids now go through these made-up scenarios that preteens and teenagers go through. I couldn't do it. I was like, what? No.
It was interesting. I just personally didn't like it. I didn't like how, they at that point, I feel like they were trying to push it. I felt like Rugrats was kind of like landing gently on the platform, like, okay, Rugrats is, it's its time. It was 10 seasons, we all know. And then they were just I felt like they were trying to really just revamp it.
They did the movie.
They did the movie, and the revamp was just like, no, just let Sleeping Beasts fly. Like,
right.
It was okay. Rugrats is great. We'll watch the reruns. To me, I was not a fan of it.
I mean, what I think they were trying to do was to grow with you, which is actually smart to do.
Oh,
they just didn't do it right.
Agreed.
Exactly.
You know what
Agreed.
I mean? Like as babies, it was funny, because you don't see babies do that.
No.
They don't go on these, obviously, I mean, they probably do in their brains, they go on wild adventures, but they don't speak English like that, even though they weren't the best at speaking English. So they looked at it like their viewership is getting older. Why don't we get older with the viewership? Which is fine. And that's actually, like I said before, is actually really smart.
It is. But you
Rugrats
need to execute it.
Yeah, but Rugrats was meant for children.
Children.
That's the whole point of them. So to make them old, it's like The Simpsons. The Simpsons never got older.
No.
And there's a reason for that. If they got older, the show might not have been as good as it is.
Or as funny.
It works. South Park is the same way. They went to one more grade. That's about it. Otherwise, they've still been in fourth grade.
Right.
So, and that's just, I know what they were trying to do. It's just, like you said, they didn't execute it correctly.
No.
And that's why you go back to the reruns. and have fun there.
It's true. I mean, honestly, back in the 90s, there was really only 2 places that you could get your cartoon fix, and that was Nickelodeon, Channel 5 on Saturday mornings.
Saturday morning cartoons,
I think, was like 5 and 11, Channel 11. So you had like the WB network, and then Fox, obviously. So you got cartoons there. But remember, in the 90s, we got introduced to a new channel, and that was Cartoon Network.
Yes.
Cartoon Network gave us
Cartoon Network.
everything, and that's a lot of how a lot of us 90s kids, well, were introduced to anime because we had Toonami. Mm-hmm. And that's how we got Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball. I'm sure Mr. A-Town Ryer would be so much more knowledgeable on all of this because he's our anime guru.
Likes that shit. I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
I did watch Sailor Moon, though.
Because it's got the boom anime babes.
I did like. I like when she would transform because she technically was naked. So
Their transformations were really like a breakthrough.
Yeah.
I at least I think so. I mean, it was just like, oh my God. Like for girls, you were like, she's more like blew my mind when I watched it. I was like,
Agreed.
and then, but as for, I'm not really an anime expert. I'm going to be honest. I'm not an anime expert, but
you know what you like.
Yeah. But to me, I think that was Sailor Moon was a breakthrough, at least for the newer anime now. And I'm not really a fan of much of the newer anime. Certain things, My Hero Academia, all that.
I love that. Don't mess with My Hero.
I love My Hero. I did. My Hero
Have you
got me
tried
back.
it's the only one I watch.
Yay! He actually watches one.
I actually think it's actually really good.
I don't even understand. In the years that I've known this man, you could not get him to watch anime. You would beg, plead, and say, just try it. It's good. It's good. And he'd be like, no.
To the dogs.
I've only done Death Note, which I
Okay.
loved. I love Death Note. Then they made the shitty movie.
that shitty
the
movie.
MTV movie. And everybody was telling me about My Hero.
It's so good.
Somebody told me the premise, and I was like, you know what, let me give it a shot. So I watched it with my son, and I was like, this is actually pretty good.
I cried the first episode. I cried because it was just like, it was so inspirational.
Where are you up to in the series?
I just got to, I think, season 3.
Okay, so we can't really say much because it's actually up to season 4.
Yes, I know that.
I just actually caught up on the last 2 simulcast episodes last night, so I'm like, oh my God.
I actually wait. I'm the person that waits. So once season 4 is completed, then I will binge watch it because I am not the person that's like, oh, let me wait till next week. Drives me nuts. So I literally just wait for the season to end, and then I'll be like, bang it out in like 3 days, like constant watching, and I'll be like, okay.
I'm good.
I'm here. I'm good.
See, I originally, I'm the kind of person that would do that too. Mm-hmm. Especially because remember, we're talking 90s. They didn't have DVR.
No.
They did not have TiVo.
You waited.
And if you missed it, it was gone forever. Mm-hmm. You could
and then you played the rerun game where you're like, oh my God, is this it? Is this it? No, I saw that episode. That was my version of the rerun game because it was like it was a roulette and you had no idea.
Oh yeah, and like kids today are never going to understand what it's like to try to time your bathroom and fridge runs in between commercials.
Mm-hmm.
You had a minute, right? A minute
and a half.
Yeah, like a minute and a half.
Right.
You peed quick.
Where your sibling would scream, "It's back!" and you'd have to go running, vaulting over chairs and pulling up.
Try not having a sibling.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember, I'm an only child, so I had to plan it perfectly. Like before it starts, start the popcorn, then Power Rangers will start. Gotta wait. Okay, there's a commercial. Go get the popcorn. As my mom's screaming in the background, the fucking shit is done. And I'm just like, Ma, listen, I can't miss. I haven't seen this episode. Like you were saying, it's like a fucking roulette. There's been times where I had to go to karate class and the Power Rangers was coming on, and I'm like, oh no, it's the episode I want to watch because I've never seen it. And it's like, you go to go. My dad will sit there. I fucking pay for it, so you got to. And I'm like,
and asking them to like kids also again they are spoiled. They have DVR, Fire Stick,
Tablets,
TiVo,
YouTube.
tablets.
You know what
YouTube.
we had the
VHS.
VCR, the VHS, and if you didn't
VHS.
plan that correctly, you didn't time that thing on that VHS to record everything. You recorded like half of the show, you missed it. You're recording like Oprah, and you're like, oh, come on.
And you knew that your cartoon or live action TV show day was done when certain talk shows would come on, or when Montel. Or Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer.
And then Nick at Night would start.
Nick at Night.
Nick at Night would start, so you would all of a sudden be watching like Mr. Ed and all the old school stuff.
Mr. Ed.
I did too.
Mr. Ed's
It
awesome.
was cool.
I did too, but it was also like, as I was younger, time for me to go to bed.
Yes, that was time to go to bed. Yeah, that's when you're like, all right, Mr. Ed's on. Nope, we gotta go to bed.
You're going to bed.
Yep. And it's funny.
School in the morning.
Yeah. And then like, let's not even get started. Like my mom was a huge Melrose Place fan.
Oh God.
So that would come on at 8:00. I think it was on Tuesdays or Wednesdays back then. So if that came on, I'm out of the room.
Just silence.
Silence. Get out.
My family, my mom still does it with NCIS. Even now, she's like, it's Tuesday, 8:00. If I hear anything, I'm gonna flip my fucking lid. And I'm like, it's NCIS. You have like it's not. Now I'm fighting. I'm like, you have DAVR, mom. It's not like the past. She's like, I don't care. And it's just like, okay, all right. I won't be in the room. I won't be in the house.
It's true. My mother's that way with actually.
She was
again,
like that with West Wing.
Sidebar: The Masked Singer.
Oh my God. But The Masked Singer is great.
It is.
So good.
It's so good. I
It
didn't
is,
even
yeah.
think it would be. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, I know.
Well, it's based
like
on a
that
Japanese show.
Is it?
Yeah, that
didn't know that.
originated in Japan, and it got pretty popular because when Deadpool came out,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Reynolds went on the Japanese version and was wearing a unicorn costume
Oh, I got to see this on
and
YouTube.
singing "The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow."
Oh my.
And you just hear the Japanese commentary with the little subtitles underneath going, wow, he's really good. He's really good. And then finally it came time to unmask him because they don't do it here where you keep going. There you get unmasked right away.
Oh, wow.
So he unmasked himself and they go, oh, Ryan Reynolds. I was like, okay. And that I guess went so viral that producers here were like, oh, we can do that.
Light bulb.
Light
you know.
bulb. I mean,
Money.
it's so good though. Have
It
you guessed
is.
anybody so far this season?
I haven't watched this season, but I watched the other seasons.
Did you get anybody right?
I knew that was T-Pain immediately in the first season.
You did?
The second he started singing the Queen song, I'm watching it. I'm watching it
He
with
was
Jen,
awesome.
and I'm like, something's not right there. Like, it sounds fantastic, but
Yeah.
when he does the one part, and I always like to go back to when he goes, "I'm gonna make a supersonic man out of you,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's fucking T-Pain. That sounds like him.
What was
Yeah.
it? Second season. I forgot what she was, but she was one of the It wasn't Raven. It was the other cheetah
flamingo.
girl, the flamingo. And
She
my
was
mom,
the third finalist.
Yep. And my mom's sitting there. I have no idea. And I heard, and she had that Spanish flair that she had.
Yeah.
And I was like, I threw my pillow down. My dog jumped up. I was like, it's the cheetah girl. And she was like, oh my God, you're crazy. And then when she was like masked, I was like, I told you
I had the
so.
fox called from day one.
Oh,
I had the
absolutely.
fox called from day one. Everybody's like, how did you know that? I had the fox called and I had the leopard called.
There was
It was
a woman
Seal and Wayne Brady. And I was like, that's Seal. And they go, what? I go, kissed by a rose, motherfucker. That's him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But there was one woman in the first season, I forgot, she was an icon back in the day. Black woman, she was older. I forgot.
Patti LaBelle?
Was it Patti LaBelle? I don't remember. But it was like my mom lives like, boom, I know exactly who that is. And me and my boyfriend Dan were like,
Oh, it may have been Gladys Knight.
Gladys Knight,
There
yes.
you go.
I was like, how do you? And then she whipped out her phone. She doesn't do this, and my mom's not a techie person. Took her about 15 minutes to figure out YouTube, but she pulled up her like certain songs, and I'm like, yeah, I'm hearing it. And then when she got unmasked, she was like, I told you so. My mom is great at that stuff.
My mother's horrible, which is why she always yells at me. She's like, "Tell me nothing," because I don't have cable. I don't have cable here in the nest. I have just the internet, but I have Hulu. So Hulu does do live.
I have to get Hulu. I have everything else but Hulu. And
Yeah, it's totally worth the money because they
it's
do
not even
live
worth
now.
to have cable anymore because we have all these streaming services.
But that's why the 90s was so great because you needed cable.
You needed the cable.
You could get Channel 5 and Channel 11 for your Saturday cartoon fix if you didn't have cable, but you couldn't get Nickelodeon and you could not get Cartoon Network without a cable box unless you had, do you remember the old school gray cable boxes.
With the illegal one?
The illegal box.
Oh, well, yeah.
The
How do you
ones-
think I watch my WWF pay-per-views?
Exactly. or God, my first introduction as a child to anything sexy was the Spice Channel.
Porn. Try watching that with two of your friends in the room, and you didn't know what you were watching because you was like, "Oh, this is interesting. They're vampires." Ooh.
Oh.
Like, I don't think that's what they're supposed to be sucking on.
If
Like,
he
oh, this is interesting.
if he likes her, why is he smacking her with the pizza box?
That's what I'm saying. Or God, remember, it was all music.
Oh my God.
Until like 9 o'clock at night, and then you would get the actual dialogue, and you're like, "Can you just put the music back?"
It was listen, it's such bad acting. It really is.
It's still not any better.
It's not. I watch it for a laugh. Like I'm like, oh God.
Like I started a war. I am in a war right now with a couple of my close friends where we will randomly send each other the most graphic porn that we could find on YouPorn or RedTube.
Oh my
Plug. And
No, God!
so we literally will search the depths, and there are some depraved amateurs on those sites.
Depraved or desperate?
Both. And I will copy the link, I will text it to them, and with the way our text is set up on WhatsApp, it opens up.
Oh God.
So So we've learned never keep our media all the way up
Oh God.
when we're out in public, because if I get a text message and I don't realize it's them and I open it, all of a sudden you hear, or just other horrible freaking sounds, because lately right now I've been sending them horrible Japanese porn.
Oh God. Oh God. Thank God I'm not on WhatsApp yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's the sidebar right there. But in the 90s, they had 90s hentai.
Yeah. I mean, that's even better than what we got. I mean,
La Blue Girl, that was 90s, you know, I mean, shit. Then that was technically a cartoon, right?
It was.
It counts for the conversation.
I would say so, yeah.
see, I was more into like the ending of the 90s into the 2000s.
Well, you were born in the beginning.
Yeah.
So
So like, what was it? Every day after school, it was perfect. It was like 3, because I lived in Queens, but I was like way into Queens. I was PS 94 from elementary school, but then we lived literally down on Hillside Avenue. So my mother drove me there every morning and drove me back. On her lunch break, she drove me back. So she'd be eating in the car, drinking her soda, driving with her knee, like, you need to go home. You know, it was scary times. But when I got home, 3:30, Yu-Gi-Oh was on, and I was a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan. So I would watch Yu-Gi-Oh for the half hour, make my popcorn, pee breaks during the commercials, watch it, and then do my homework. It was like my thing. That was my thing.
yeah, because like after school, like what kind of like where I went, I lived across the street from my elementary school. So literally walked across the street, walked home. So if I wasn't out playing after school with my friends, I was at home watching different cartoons, and the lineup was changing by the time, because we're talking like 96, 97 at that time. So
4 or 5 for me.
yeah, so I would say like they actually started pushing back the shows because they realized kids started doing after school programs. So the cartoon block wouldn't really start until 4.
Yeah.
For, after a while. So that was good because there were certain cartoons that I missed because it started at 2:30.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was funny because as I got older, Nick Jr. came into play. Mm-hmm. And so you had all the baby shows, like, Gullah Gullah Island, Bear.
I love that show.
That's such a good show.
That's such a great theme song, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. We need to...
Bear in the Big Blue House was
Oh
there
my
for a
God,
little while.
That
no.
was a good show.
That was my thing. Bear in the Big Blue House. I actually went, my parents, I think it was in Florida. It was like Nickelodeon. When Nickelodeon was
Nickelodeon Studios.
Yes. I went to
Universal, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
my parents, when we were there for vacation, got me tickets, and I saw Bear in the Big Blue House live, and let me tell you, I could have shit bricks. It was amazing. Even though I was like, what, 5, 6 at that time?
yeah.
And there were still kids younger than me that were like, oh my God. And my parents were getting like, oh, you have like a 5, 6-year-old. Plus, I was very tall when I was young.
You're tall now.
Yeah, but like back then I was like 5, but everybody thought I was 11, So like, why do you have an 11-year-old here? She's like, she's alive. But it was, I still remember that. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, he's right there. He's alive. It was.
And it was Jim Henson too.
Yes.
So that's why, like, I have a very big love for Jim Henson because Jim Henson, we had Muppet Babies back in the 90s.
Jim Henson was like my idol, one of my idols.
Still is.
Still is. And even when I went to art school, he was one of the visions that like really got my art going. I was never a puppeteer. I'll never be one. Not like him, you know. And
you got to meet the great Carol Spinney and drive him home last year before he passed away.
I know.
Rest in peace, Big Bird. We love you.
He was incredible, especially at that time where his I don't want to say disease, but whatever he had, disorder. It was a form of like physical thing. Like he thought like, oh, let me move my hand. But it would take him all of his energy to move his hand.
And yet he still was able to play Big Bird up until they said, you can't do it anymore.
And he just, you know.
Then he just did the voice.
Yep.
He just continued doing the voice. I mean, and that, again, another 90s. Well, actually, honestly, Disney. Sesame Street has been around for 50 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're talking parents, us, our kids. You have kids. I don't.
How do you feel about the new puppet?
I haven't been watching.
Which one is that? I know they've been adding a bunch.
The homeless one?
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It is what it is.
They added an autistic one. Why not?
I don't mind the autistic one. The homeless one, I feel, is a little...
pushing it.
Is pushing. I mean,
but
Oscar
then again,
the Grouch was in a garbage can for how many years?
He was technically
homeless, but they didn't want to put him as homeless.
Right, but see, here's the thing, and this is what kind of pisses me off. Yes, I know you're trying to, again, sidebar from our conversation, but
sorry,
you're trying. No, this is what the gate does. We go on tangents. I know you're trying to reflect on today's climate, but having a children's show where, again, if you're so upset about how the 90s children's show shaped some of us now, how are you going to have shows like this? Like, yeah, all right, I get it. You're commenting on a political climate. You're commenting on an actual problem in the United States. But it would not be a problem if you didn't promote it as something glamorous.
Yes, I completely agree with that.
That is very true.
I completely agree.
And then you're gonna yell at us about like Ren and Stimpy being like going back to the 90s cartoons. Ren and Stimpy was quite possibly one of the grossest, most graphic cartoons.
I couldn't watch it.
I could, but never while eating. I could
eat.
Never eat while watching Ren and Stimpy. The originals?
Nope.
Nope. I mean, Bob Camp, the man. But I mean, you're talking about those kind of shows and how they shaped us into being like the maladjusted adults that we are now. Yeah. No, it didn't. It just taught me how to be gross. That's all it did. And you're sitting here glorifying a puppet that's homeless. Kids are going to grow up thinking that it's okay to be homeless.
It's not.
It's supposed to be more about respecting the homeless.
But you gotta respect Oscar.
They technically do.
But remember Dave Chappelle's stand-up show where he's like, "Get it together, Grouch."
Yeah.
You know, like,
get it together, Grouch.
This is what I'm talking about. Like,
Grouch.
I know it's about respecting somebody that comes from this kind of thing, and I know you're trying to teach children certain things, but this is also, if you fix this problem, you wouldn't have to teach them to do it.
Exactly. And that's why it's a crapshoot for me too. It's like a double-edged sword. Like when they brought the autistic puppet on, I agreed with that. Because a lot of people don't realize, like, you know, a lot of kids with autism, it's like, you don't know their triggers. Something could happen. Like, what was it? I read on Facebook the other day, an autistic boy at Disney World lost his mind, lost it. Like, he was so frustrated, he was overwhelmed, overstimulated, and he was online to meet Snow White. And if this woman had no idea about this.
I heard about this.
And she sat there and she comforted this kid. And I appreciate, like, as me, like, I appreciate that. I would love for people to have more awareness of it. But at the same time, don't glorify it. Like, give the education, but don't, like, throw it in a huge spotlight where everybody nowadays is a snowflake.
Or
and
use
like,
it to further a political agenda.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, don't use a puppet to further your anti-vaccination
views and I'm not getting. Oh my God, no!
I can't.
I'm not getting into that.
I mean, T, you're your father. You vaccinated your children.
Yes.
So
it's okay. We survived the Black Plague once. We can do it again.
We ate dirt.
I was just thinking that. Like, we sat there and ate dirt.
And drank out of a hose that wasn't
fine.
Filtered.
We're fine.
And
you grew up in Brooklyn, so the water was worse.
Yes. Yeah. Try drinking the water at the fountains after somebody just, washed their feet in them and shit. But you're thirsty. You got to run around.
You got to do what you got to do. But I'm saying, like, these cartoons reflected that.
Yep.
Like, We were talking Rugrats. Let's talk another. Johnny Bravo.
Oh my God.
Johnny Bravo was not a Nicktoon. He was a Cartoon Network creation. And most people don't realize about Johnny Bravo is that he was a parody of Elvis.
Yes. The hair?
The hair, the mannerisms. But see, now here's the thing. You watch a Johnny Bravo show, like cartoon now, how many violations would you say that he would get for being sexual?
He wouldn't be on air.
No, he wouldn't. Because it would be like sexual harassment, feminist. Like, I have nothing against feminists. I myself have feminist views. I'm not a feminist. So please, feminists, don't kill me. But I love that cartoon because of the shenanigans he gets into chasing after women. Beavis and Butthead, another one. Yeah, you're right. It's like these shows, while they did not reflect the climate, they just showed us funny things of things that were kind of true.
Yeah.
But we weren't exposed to it, not really. I mean, but Johnny Bravo is one of those cartoons that was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Because it actually wasn't just for children.
It was
had
for
adult
everybody.
overtones.
Oh, big time.
It was everybody.
He was literally trying to bang every woman.
Every woman. And and honestly, like, my friend was saying, like, how can you like that show? Because obviously it promoted pedophilia because of the little redheaded neighbor girl that was in love with him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how? When he was always telling her to go away. Like, how does that promoting pedophilia? Oh, well, it's also promoting rape culture. I'm like, how?
How is that
How
even
is this
possible?
promoting rape culture? Please. Please tell me. It's a guy who's so freaking clueless, no offense, T, that he just is never, because you're a guy, so he's never going to understand.
I'm not a clueless guy, though.
No, you're not. That's why you're smooth.
Well, that depends. Can you go fuck yourself?
No.
I felt like he was also kind of a little bit of a narcissist with himself. A little
Of
bit.
course.
A little bit. But it was a good show. Like, even me and my stepfather watched it together when we were young, like when I was younger.
Still watch it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how are you going to sit there and think Johnny was just so freaking clueless, and he wanted all these things. And let's not get it twisted. Johnny was not a bad-looking cartoon character.
He wasn't.
He was just an idiot. You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but still, you try to play that show for any of these kids nowadays.
Oh my God.
Like my half sister is 15 years younger than me, so she just turned 20 in January, the end of January.
Oh wow.
And I played her when she was a little. When I used to babysit her when she was little, I would show her these cartoons. No interest whatsoever. But then I put on one of the more recent cartoons, like, oh God, what was a big cartoon when she was growing up? Oh, I can't remember, but they were like the newer
ones?
the newer cartoons.
Maybe like Kim Possible, Totally Spies kind of thing.
That kind of a thing. I mean, but those were a little bit too old for her, so I'm thinking more younger, but still the same
era,
time period.
Yeah, same time.
So she had no interest in the cartoons that we loved, but she
newer
loved
ones.
the newer cartoons. And then as she got older, I made her watch those cartoons again. Mm-hmm. And she goes, "Why am I watching this? This is horrible. Like, the animation's blah, and the undertones are blah."
It's nostalgia.
I'm
you
like-
have to graduate into the newer stuff. I'm sorry.
They just won't do it.
No.
They just won't do it.
And that's sad.
And the thing is what was she born? 1999? 2000? 2000. She was born in 2000.
Wow.
So she's the tail end of like Samurai Jack.
Oh, I was just going to mention that too. That was a great show.
You know, Courage the Cowardly Dog. All the older, but not the originals, but the like third or fourth gen
Scooby-Doo.
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 A pup named Scooby-Doo.
Everything.
Yeah, so that was like the tail end of when she was born. So, but she doesn't want anything to do with it. I was like, but this is so good. I'm 15, 16 years old and I'm watching this.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
My boyfriend we moved in almost almost a year ago. Give or take, couple change. But he just brought over another box of his stuff. Oh my God, this boy has everything. But he brought over the if you remember the truck, it's a truck and it has all seasons of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I got that too. It's awesome.
Oh, the original
I
80s?
was like,
No,
yeah.
90s. That was
90s.
1991.
It was 80s into the 90s.
80s into
Yeah.
90s. And I was like, myself, like nowadays, like now I have to fight myself. Like, oh my God, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But you know, you pop it in and then the memories come back, and you're like, I remember sitting here waiting for this show to come on.
Oh, you mean like the real Ghostbusters?
Oh.
I mean, you are an actual Ghostbuster.
Yes, I
you know?
am. You know, New York City Ghostbusters guys. You know, come out and we support. We do charity work and everything. You see us in suits. You'll see me in my suit. Need to get a new suit, guys. It's a little. But anyway, but yes, the Ghostbusters, obviously.
Would that count as a 90s cartoon since it started in 1989 and ended, I think, 1992? Real Ghostbusters?
I would think so. I think it's more of a transition over.
Yeah.
I think it's a transition over.
Honestly, I think we could count 89 cartoons in, like, 90s nostalgia.
Yeah, I would say yes. Like the borderline, yeah.
I would say so, because border of that would be, I think the latest 80s cartoon to come out was in 1988, and I believe that was Rainbow Bright.
Yes, I believe so.
And that was when, like, they started saying, oh, well, we need cartoons for the girls.
Yes.
You know, I mean, and we can't forget one of the biggest, most influential cartoons of the 90s, Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, my God.
Batman the Animated Series. I've cosplayed Talia al Ghul.
Yes, and it's amazing.
The original from there, and everybody goes, "Oh, who are you supposed to be?" I'm like, Talia al Ghul, and then as soon as I say that, they go, "Batman the Animated Series."
Yes.
I mean, guys, you would not have Harley Quinn if it was not for Batman the Animated Series.
You would not.
She was created for this cartoon.
Absolutely. She is one of my favorites, though.
Oh, yeah.
She is one of my favorites. I did cosplay. I'm very nervous, I'll be honest, to do the original Harley Quinn.
In the clown suit?
In the clown suit. I'm very nervous. I know it's sad to say, but
my friend Penny Lane does such a good.
She's a great Harley Quinn.
Good.
I
and
love her.
Let's not forget our favorite Frances.
Ah, yes, Frances is Harley Quinn.
Frances is Harley Quinn.
I did the bombshell Harley Quinn though, the bombshell one.
I've done a version where I crossed Dragon Ball Z Bulma with Harley Quinn, and
I remember that.
Bulma Quinn.
That's
she
awesome.
will be coming back out to a convention sooner or later because I've upgraded her.
I am getting back in. I got to get the makeup for it, but my bombshell Harley is coming back.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that
one. My bombshell. I just need to make sure my jacket is either fixed, my bomber jacket, or I just got to get a new one because the fabric, or not the fabric, but the leather is just like peeling off. It's so old. So, but I remember putting that cosplay together. I needed something like right now, you know, like that cosplay, like shoot, I have nothing. And I literally, I looked at the card. I was like, I have that jacket. I have that wig. I have that.
But this.
Oh my God!
But the thing is about this cartoon is it was also our first introduction to dark.
Yes, it was.
The style was anime-ish.
Yes,
but it was still Americanized enough where we don't automatically go anime.
Absolutely.
And
that's what I think is the biggest breakthrough that DC really I think that series alone is a huge breakthrough for
let's
DC.
not get it twisted. DC, hands down, will always win in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, how many debates have you and I had, T, about how Marvel kills in the box office, but DC unbeatable in animation?
Absolutely.
Always when it comes to the animation, the cartoons, DC was the way to go.
And they're not scared.
No.
They're not scared to put things out. What was the last one I saw? It was the, I forgot the name, but it was with Constantine. It was a newer one.
I haven't.
Was it not Justice League Dark?
I think it was Justice League Dark. I don't know.
I remember that came out a while ago, though. But they made a number 2, I think.
It was like the beginning was when it was literally like a car literally running over people.
Yeah.
And I sat there, I was like,
Batman had blood.
Yes.
Batman the Animated Series, when you saw the gun go off, you saw bullets, you saw blood spatter, you had violence to a point where it's not excessive, but enough to further a storyline in this cartoon. And the wonderful thing about it is you actually have character development throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have Robin, and then he transitions into Nightwing.
Absolutely.
Through this series, you have Harley Quinn, and you see her start to transition from being just the Joker's little sidekick to an actual character in her own right.
Yep.
You see Batgirl come into her own. You see the Joker Mark Hamill, I'm sorry. Mark Hamill is my Joker.
He is.
I mean,
he is great.
Live action will always be Nicholson, but voiceover, Hamilton
hands
down the
hands
way.
down. Absolutely. And did you see there was a YouTube when he was voicing for the video games, how he physically contorts himself into being the Joker. And to me, that's incredible. It's scary as all fuck, but it's incredible. It's for you to twist your mind into being this character who is just literally out for whatever shenanigans he wants to do. I was very amazed. I was like, he wins it for me, hands down.
I mean, and Kevin Conroy, I'm sorry, he's my Batman.
Oh, absolutely.
Keaton live action, Conroy voiceover.
Absolutely.
There's no other for me.
If you change I would rather have Kevin Conroy as Batman for the rest of my life. I know it's not going to happen.
Michael Keaton, though, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton's our Batman. I mean, original Batman came out in 1989.
Yes.
And then we had Batman Returns, which came out in 1992.
Yes.
I mean, we're not talking new movies right now, but I mean, we have to because Batman Returns is what gave us Batman the Animated Series.
You're absolutely right.
Because they actually started saying, all right, let's develop the Batman that we have from Tim Burton. And they followed that dark, that gritty, that wonderful animation style in this cartoon.
Absolutely.
I have the entire series on DVD, and I watch that series whenever I'm bored. Literally, I can sit there and watch the entire series in a day. That's like... There's no words. It's just that never needs to be redone.
No.
And they don't. You notice that whenever they come up with a new Batman series, it's a different type of Batman. There's
Absolutely.
the Batman.
It's like almost untouchable.
Yeah.
It's untouchable.
They even brought that Batman from Batman the Animated Series into Justice League, the original Justice League. It was that one that they brought in with Conroy as the voice.
Yep.
So you know that this is what they got. I mean, you had Superman come out at the same time. Remember the original Superman cartoon and the original Spider-Man cartoon? For me, that's my characters. That's how I was introduced to them outside of a comic book.
Yeah. So now, like, even when you read a comic book now, like, I hear his voice.
It's true.
I hear his voice. Like, there's no other voice for me at that point. And
even with the Joker.
Exactly.
I can't not hear Mark Hamill.
I can't do it.
And anybody that tries to do it,
yeah.
No.
And I mean, speaking of the Joker, obviously, Mark, the three Jokers for me, also Jack Nicholson is God, but I really did like
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. Sorry,
I have
names.
Joaquin.
Joaquin.
Thank you.
And
I haven't seen that movie yet.
Oh my God!
I know.
What?
I know. I'm sorry.
It's fantastic.
Literally, I walked out of that movie theater changed. And I was just like...
I haven't had a chance to really... I wanted to see it while it was in theaters.
You need to be in a right mindset. I'm not going to lie.
That's part of the reason what I was afraid of going to see it. Because we've talked about it on the gate before. I have borderline personality disorder.
Yep.
So for me, one of the biggest things for us... You have it too.
Yes, I do.
Lithy has it too. Where we have no identity. That is our biggest problem, is we have no sense of self. It's like, the best way to put it is a vampire looking in a mirror. You don't have a reflection.
Exactly.
So for me, I don't want to go into a movie that is this heavily psychological as I'm being told and not feel like I'm going to come out thinking, holy fucking shit, this could become me. And then I adopt some mannerisms and then I go into a whole borderline spiral. That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah. I was afraid of it too. I'm not going to lie. Dan, when it first came out, let's go see Joker. And I love my boyfriend, Dan Hoffman. He's Shaggy. Everybody knows him as Shaggy. I love him to death, but he doesn't really understand. And sometimes it's like when he was like, I got tickets to the Joker. And I turned down the movie. I was like, no, I'm not ready to see it because everybody told me it's very heavy and psychological.
How many times did you see it in theaters, T?
None.
Oh, bootleg?
Fire stick.
Fire stick! Yeah!
I did see it in the movie theater, and I told him, I warned him. I was like, if I'm not feeling it, I'm walking out. I'm not. Because
that's what I'm afraid of with Birds of Prey.
Oh, it wasn't... It was okay.
I'm getting mixed reviews. Some people are loving it, some people are hating it, and some people are like, okay, it's better than Suicide Squad.
It was better than Suicide Squad.
A lot. It's better than Suicide Squad.
It was okay. Yeah. I'm not going to say it was great. I'm not going to say it was horrible.
But you know what the best part about all this is? We would not have these movies. We would not have any of the things that we are talking about right now if it wasn't for Batman the Animated Series.
Point. Point proven.
We wouldn't.
Right? We wouldn't.
You know, I mean,
Harley Quinn would have never came to be.
no.
She would have never came to be. Birds of Prey would have never came to be.
No.
And then after that, like, think about it.
You wouldn't have Huntress. You wouldn't have Oracle. You wouldn't have the laughing.
You wouldn't have Ivy. And that she's a major part. She's a major villain. You'd never have Ivy. If it wasn't for Batman the Animated Series, the Joker, you would never have Harley Quinn, and then you would never have the feminists or not the feminists, but like the
lesbian overtones, and then the actual lesbianism
not the
between
lesbian
Harley and Ivy.
Not even that. Just like your female villains. You'd never have it.
You wouldn't be as well, because let's not forget, if you want to go old school, we'll go on a little tangent here. Batman, the 60s series, had Catwoman.
Yes.
And she was very, very, very powerful. Catwoman has been around since, I would say, the 40s.
Yes.
In Batman comics.
No, you're correct.
We did have one.
But she was like your Deadpool
sex symbol.
almost.
She was a sex symbol.
And your Deadpool. She was out for herself.
Of course. She
You know?
still is.
I don't blame her. She's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
She's
Except
one
for
of
that Halle Berry movie. How dare you?
We don't talk about that.
No. Don't speak of this. I mean, I like the premise. I don't like how they did it.
I don't.
Whatever. We don't go there. That's not a 90s thing. But, I mean...
That's the shadowy place over there that Simba doesn't go to.
But Simba went there.
Because Simba was young and he didn't understand.
And he learned his lesson.
He did.
Exactly.
He did.
But, like, so, like I said, Batman, Superman came out back then, the original Superman character, cartoon, which we got a little bit more in depth from that. We got Smallville.
Yes.
We got Green Arrow.
Oh my God.
From all the stuff that everybody's freaking geeking out about now, the live action stuff was all started in the 90s from these cartoons.
Absolutely.
Fantastic Four had a cartoon back then. It was great. They even had an Iron Man cartoon back in the 90s, and it was well done.
Yep.
Put it this way, the Tony Stark that we have in Robert Downey Jr., watch the 90s cartoon. It's the exact same character.
Yes.
It is. It's down to the mannerisms, down to the look. It's amazing. These 90s characters whether people want to admit it or not, a lot of the producers and directors of Hollywood were influenced by these cartoons.
Absolutely.
All of them.
Absolutely.
Because they know how good these cartoons were. They know what they did to them as a child or a teenager.
Because they were timeless.
Exactly.
They're timeless. And even whatever shenanigans now that's happening, they know that, well, they're never going to touch this, and this is going to be a timeless piece. Like Batman the Animated Series, regardless, even if the Batman now turns into this spiral of whatever, like it goes down in the dumps.
The Bat Who Laughs?
Yeah. But they know that, well, we have the animated series, that's never going to be touched.
Right. Exactly. And I can bring up another amazing show that should and won't and will never be touched. Gargoyles.
Oh my God, the nostalgia. That was a great show.
Oh, so good. And
So
that was a show
good.
that wasn't meant for children.
It was not.
No,
that was not.
They literally kill people in the first episode. I've rewatched it since having the Disney Plus service.
Great service, by the way.
It is. And I showed Christian it, and he loves it. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're about to. He's asking me too. He's like, are they dead? And I don't want to be that guy that's like, yeah, they're fucking dead. And it's like, just keep watching.
And not even that. They're so twisted. They kill them while they're asleep.
Yep.
Smart, actually.
Yep.
You know, I mean, but and then we're talking about this show is the show that originally got me into learning more about Celtic mythology, Norse mythology. I mean, because we're talking about fairy culture and gargoyles and all these things, and it actually got me interested in the different pantheons and mythology of the world. So we're talking about a cartoon that influenced somebody to go and learn history.
Yep.
So I mean, come on.
And not in the way that you think. Like, what was it? CBS had back in the day. CBS had stuff. Like, what was it? The Liberty Kids or something? Like, okay, that was like a time waster, but you still watched it and you're like, oh, okay, like that's the back history. But like you said, gargoyles were like, wow, what is Celtic mythology? And somebody, got kids to go read and look this up.
Yeah.
And
it also, remember when they were doing was it the second or third season where Bronx, where it was Goliath, Eliza, Bronx, And then eventually his daughter Angela got in the boat and were sent all over the world for different tasks because of what's the island? Oh my god.
Oh, it's blanking. It's really blanking.
The one where they took all the gargoyle babies to hide.
Oh my god.
You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I just don't remember the name.
I
as
don't
well.
remember.
Well,
I know what you're talking about.
Right.
It's not. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
Don't you hate that?
I hate that.
So bad.
Now I'm gonna sit here and think.
I know.
And wait.
It's gonna piss me off.
And then I might look it up on Google. But still, I'm gonna think.
Yeah. Well, remember they didn't go directly back to Manhattan. They went all over the world to do different things where they were needed, and that actually got me interested in world history and geography and the different histories of different things. Because they went to Egypt, they went to the rainforest, they went to Mayan civilization.
Yes.
London. They went. And it just it broadened my horizon.
Yeah, major points of history and time.
Right.
And you're like, why are they going here? Like the Mayans.
Right.
That's where I learned the Mayans before history class in high school. I was like, ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
I've always loved Egyptian mythology, but then that episode where you had the pack and they were trying to bring Anubis back, I was like, oh, this is cool. And that like solidified what I wanted to know about ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Like, this is a cartoon that, like, spanned, and it wasn't, and again, not for children.
Definitely not.
I mean, not young children, but
No.
preteen to teenage children.
I mean, my children are screwed because I'm going to make them watch it. I'm going to make everybody.
I mean, you're making Christian watch it.
Yeah, I am, and he loves it.
Yeah. I mean, and the animation style was also dark,
and
gritty.
Yeah. But it was
know?
incredible. It was
is.
incredible from an artistic view. Like,
So
this-
good.
Batman, like, going back to Batman the animated series was dark. It Gargoyles was dark, and it was, at this point, it was okay to show this at that time.
Right.
Because it was just like, this is a new idea. We're pushing this, and it followed through, because
It did. And it was one of the few Disney cartoons that wasn't Tailspin, DuckTales, and then, we're going to go right into it, Darkwing Duck. Mm-hmm. Darkwing Duck was one of the better cartoons of the 90s. I mean, like, we had a whole Disney block. Do you remember the Disney block?
Yes.
On the WB?
Yep.
Where it was Darkwing Duck, Bonkers,
Yes.
Tailspin,
DuckTales.
DuckTales. What other ones did they show?
I think Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget was Nickelodeon.
That was
I think that was next.
Was it?
Yeah.
That was a
it?
Nickelodeon cartoon. They showed that on Nickelodeon. Fact check me if you don't believe me, but I know it wasn't Disney. But Darkwing Duck, and that was again, it took a citizen that we were introduced to in DuckTales and gave us a little bit more. While there was comedy there, it was still dark because we're dealing with a vigilante. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm watching a duck who kind of reminds me of like a cross between Batman and like honestly, Darkwing Duck is like a duck Batman.
Yep.
So I mean, and the animation again, you see characters that you saw in DuckTales. You're like, oh, there's the connection there, and your little childlike mind is like going, oh, this is cool. I'm watching this, and you had fun. There were different villains. Again, Darkwing Duck was Disney's equivalent of Batman for children.
Yes.
But it still sometimes actually went with some adult overtones. Like, you had Darkwing Duck, and he was raising, I think, his niece.
Yeah, I think I watched Darkwing Duck like once in a while.
Right.
Like, it wasn't,
You weren't the Disney block.
I wasn't
Well, you weren't cartoon.
I wasn't a cartoon, but when I did watch it, it was interesting for me. But Darkwing Duck wasn't really one of my favorites. But I think it was his niece. I think.
What Tommy, was it his niece? The little redheaded duck in the jersey?
Wait, which one are you talking about?
Darkwing Duck, he was raising his niece.
That was his niece.
Yeah, that was his niece. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like, we're talking about a single adult male. I mean, granted, he was a duck. Raising an orphan niece.
Yeah.
In a cartoon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, actually, now, honestly, if I want to play devil's advocate, maybe he did screw us up.
Just a little bit.
Maybe it did, and we're sitting here, like, shitting on a puppet for being homeless.
But he's right.
Oops.
Ooh, shoot.
It's okay. I mean, did you watch Darkwing Duck?
Yes, because Darkwing Duck was literally DuckTales and Batman put in one.
There you go.
There's crossovers in Darkwing Duck with DuckTales.
And Tailspin.
And Tailspin. I used to love Tailspin.
Yeah. Baloo.
Yeah, it was the Jungle Book.
Yes.
I mean, Darkwing Duck was a lot of fun.
Darkwing Duck was great.
Again, it's a duck Batman.
Yeah.
He was.
He
You
was.
really can't get anything wrong with that. It's
No.
like Bonkers was just like, what was it?
He was kind of, I think he was supposed to be like a cheetah, mixed
cheetah.
with a leopard,
Mm-hmm.
but he
But he's
had
a cop.
right. He was a cartoon cop, and it kind of followed the same genre as of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Bonkers was like more than that, and nice catch. So Rocky Meowboa has decided he wants to join the cast, and
Yes.
he almost jumped on top of everything. But kittens will be kittens. But we're like the Disney block shows were great because they all tied in a certain way. Like, do you remember there was it was very short lived. They had Timon and Pumbaa.
Oh yes.
That was the 90s.
That was 90s.
They had Aladdin.
Aladdin.
I used
Didn't
to
they
love
have
that show.
Hercules too?
No, they
No?
never did a show with that, but they did have the
Hercules
Little
had a
Mermaid.
show.
Hercules did have a
He-
show.
Oh
It
yes,
just
when he was a
wasn't good.
kid.
Yes.
Yeah, it just wasn't good.
It was
Yeah, it
okay.
was-
Little Mermaid was.
The Little Mermaid had a big series because it was actually leading up to right before she met Prince Eric and became a human. You had Aladdin, who followed the different adventures of Aladdin in between Return of Jafar and the Prince of Thieves.
Okay.
Yeah, because he had Iago with him.
Right.
Actually, no.
Yes.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because it's
Aladdin
after
the series.
Return of Jafar
Aladdin the series came out after Return of Jafar.
Right.
Followed their adventures leading up to the Prince
to
of
the
Thieves.
Prince of Thieves.
Yes.
Yeah, because he had Iago with him.
Right,
so,
and they
yeah.
weren't married yet. They got married in Prince of Thieves.
Right.
Yeah. So you had that. You had Timon and Pumbaa, who follows Timon and Pumbaa after Simba becomes king, which is great. What else did they have? They had now that you mentioned Jungle Book, there was the Jungle Kids, where it was sort of preteen teenage versions of Bagheera, Baloo, Shere Khan, and Kaa and King Louie, and they followed their different adventures in the jungle. And it showed how
Sounds
they
familiar.
Yeah, I think it was called the Jungle Kids, but I specifically remember that show because it was very, very short-lived.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
no, it was
it.
I think they only had like maybe one season.
Maybe.
And tops.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you had Gummy Bears. You had the Gummy Bears. That was 90s. What else did we have?
Care Bears.
Care Bears was more 80s. They actually came out, I think, in 19.
What about Trolls?
Trolls didn't have a show.
Ooh,
It did?
I do remember.
I don't
that.
remember
I don't
that
remember.
show.
Maybe it was a movie.
It may have been a movie.
I thought Trolls had its own
Cartoon?
something like that.
No,
What was it called?
but
I think out of curiosity, thinking of the Smurfs, maybe not Trolls.
no,
Smurfs
I know,
was
I know
80s.
Smurfs was 80s.
There was. I can't remember. That
there was Reboot. Do you guys remember that? The first computer animated cartoon ever? Reboot?
I've heard of Reboot. I never watched it.
Where they live in a computer chip.
That sounds familiar too.
There was Reboot. There was there was Captain Planet.
Oh, absolutely. Magic
Yeah.
School Bus. Now, if we're talking about Captain Planet, because I know they were like back to back at some point.
They did didn't they redo the Magic School Bus recently?
I think they
too?
did, but I didn't.
And it
On-
was
on
with her
Netflix.
sister.
yeah,
on Netflix.
I know.
It's Kate McKinnon.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I mean, honestly, if it can get kids interested in the different parts of the of science, I'm all for it.
Okay. All right.
Honestly, and they do it in the same animation style.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm okay with this.
All right. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah,
I'll give it a shot.
check it out. It's on Netflix. Plug. Hey Netflix, sponsor us. We love
Yes. yes. Thank you.
you. I mean, like we're going. Also, you got to keep in mind, like, so we were talking Disney block. The WB had some of the most influential shows. Exactly where I was going. You read my mind. Animaniacs, which they're redoing as well. But it's the original cast.
It is.
It's the
Yes, it
original cast.
okay.
So
All right.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
And
all right.
it's actually Animaniacs is also very special to me because my mother's friend, Rich, helped create them.
Wow. Really? Wow. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So
They were like back for me. They were just the shenanigans of shenanigans. They did everything wacky and wacko. What is it? Wacko,
Yakko, Wacko, and
Yakko. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my god, they're dropping an anvil on them. What? You know, it was just to me. It was just so much fun just to watch them. You know,
it is so good.
it was so much fun.
Was that one of your?
Yes, I loved it. It was actually a Steven Spielberg production
Yes.
too, which makes it even more just top notch. But there's a lot of pop culture references in every single episode.
Absolutely.
Which it's a little. If you watch it now, you won't sit there and actually be like, oh, like a kid would be like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But we're sitting there going like, oh, you have no idea.
You have no, yeah.
Like you have no idea what he's actually saying is dirty, but it's hilarious.
And the best part is like, hello, nurse. Like,
Oh.
I still say that.
Nuts.
I still say that. And I always put that GIF on one of my friends if they post up a sexy picture or if they just look really beautiful. Even if it's a guy, I put up the GIF of Yakko and Wacko with the nurse going, hello, nurse. I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's universal. I mean, I still say some of the catchphrases.
Yeah.
I
It
mean-
sticks with you.
Remember Yakko's song about the world?
I gotta
United
look back.
States, Canada.
Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
No.
Did you know that the voice actor, again, blanking on the name, he redid it.
He did?
He updated the song.
Did he really?
He recently, because he has his own podcast.
Oh, he does?
He does. It's great. I would suggest checking it out. It's fantastic. He actually has different voice actors come on and they read.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he actually updated the Yakko geography song with all the different countries and countries that no longer exist.
Oh, wow.
So it's amazing, and he does it in the exact same voice. It's fantastic. Totally worth YouTubing it.
I'm gonna definitely do
Definitely
that later.
do that.
Absolutely.
But Animaniacs was a good one. Freakazoid.
Freakazoid.
Do you remember that one?
I do remember Freakazoid.
I still, to this day, I kind of want to do a femme version of Freakazoid.
You should totally do it.
I totally want to. I'm just terrified of styling that wig.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. I see where the brick wall can come into play with
Yeah,
that.
plus there's going to be a lot of gray face makeup because he had gray face.
Yep.
The mask is going to, I might have to get a custom mask for that.
Maybe.
But it's easy to find red long johns and put an F on it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
You just got to be nuts.
So I just got to be me.
There you go.
Oh, man. Like, oh, God. There's just so many influential cartoons of, Freakazoid, I'm very sad that I don't think it went more than, 2 seasons.
Yeah.
No, it lasted very shortly.
Very short. It was very short. Animaniacs, I think, got 3 or 4.
I think so.
Another big one I want to talk about that definitely influenced me and still to this day influences me and is a dream cosplay if I can ever figure out how to do it properly, Tiny Toon Adventures.
Yes.
Babs Bunny, again, as he said in Animaniacs, where we would not see a lot of these references, Babs made them. Buster made them. And I love the fact that it also included their mentors, which were the original Looney Tunes, which I grew
were the
up on.
teachers.
Yeah. We're talking, all these little spin-off shows that you got from the Looney Tunes. You had Tasmania.
Yep.
Tiny Toon Adventures. You had, what was that? The Daffy Show.
The Daffy Show. I was just gonna say the duck. I forgot his name.
Daffy.
Daffy Duck.
They had
Yep.
the Daffy Show. Help me out here. Anything that you could think of that I may be missing?
That's coming from the spin-off of it.
From Looney Tunes
From
and then
Looney
Tiny
Tunes.
Tunes as well.
The one thing I always remembered was, you already said it though, Tasmania.
Yeah.
Tasmania.
Yeah.
That was just one of my favorite shows to watch.
So Babs was my favorite character. Who is yours?
Oh God. Bad.
If you can't hear the purring, that is Rocky Meowboa.
Yes. Babs was also my favorite character. I loved them all, honestly, because it was just a show of, it was amazing.
It was insane.
It was.
Yeah.
But I gotta agree with you. Babs was one of my favorite characters as well.
Tommy?
Plucky!
Plucky! Oh, Mr. Narcissistic Crazy Man.
Yeah, I loved him. He was funny.
So perfect. He was even more narcissistic than Daffy, and that's hard
Yep.
to do.
That's hard to do. That's absolutely hard
As
to
a
do.
baby.
As a baby.
Yep.
What a go down the hole. Oh my God. And then what did you had? You had Montana Max, Elvira. You had oh God, what was the pig's name?
Pig?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
remember something J Pig. Horton? Hamilton J.
Yep.
Pig. There we go.
Yep.
There we go. I remember. He was great because he was so unassuming and then he would lose his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Or then you had Shirley the Loon.
Yep.
Oh God, so many good characters. This show was so good. And I think, again, only got 2 seasons and a movie.
Yep.
That one had a movie, How I Spent My Summer. I loved that movie because there's so many references to some of these big, like, what was Babs' hi baby. Babs' favorite character to do was Barbara Walters. Mm-hmm. Oh, so good.
Oh my goodness. It's coming back to me now.
Yeah, and Buster was great, you know, because he was Mr. Cool Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and him and Plucky's battles were epic.
Yep.
You know, I mean, honestly, there's really... Oh, I can't talk more about this show because it's just so good. Just too good. Did you watch the entire... I actually went out and bought the whole seasons on my Fire Stick.
I have watched it. I used to go to my friend's house to watch it a lot. I remember playing the video game, though.
The Sega game?
Yes, I
and
remember
the game.
that.
Did you have the Game Boy game too? Because I did.
No, I only played the Sega one.
The sports game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I
Was
played
it the
two
sports
games.
game?
No, because there was another one.
There
that
was
they had
two.
There was 2
Yeah.
games.
They had the Tiny Toon. I have both, and I still play them. I know, I'm crazy. Old school gamer. They had Tiny Toon Adventures, where you played Buster and Babs.
Okay, that one I played.
And then they had a Tiny Toon Sports, where you could play different sports,
I
like
remember that
basketball,
one too.
soccer,
I might have
baseball.
played that at my friend's house. But
Yeah,
I
and
do
then they
remember
had
that.
and then they had Tiny Toon Adventures, the Game Boy game.
I didn't have that.
I think I had the Game Boy game.
I still do.
I think I do.
I still do, and it still works. Yes, retro gaming is my shit.
Game.
But yeah, this was all. But also, do you remember that with Tiny Toons though, with merchandise back then, they had they had plushies, but not really. Like that's the other thing about the '90s shows. There wasn't a lot. There was marketing, but not really like the way it is now.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, do you remember in Cartoon Network? I'm gonna go again with like the final show that I want to bring up of the night, Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot about that. Oh my God. I feel like I should put myself in
It was
timeout.
in the same block as Johnny Bravo because it always
Yes.
went Dexter and then Johnny.
Oh my God.
And then
That show
Powerpuff
is-
Girls after that.
Show is incredible.
Yeah.
I loved Dexter's Laboratory.
I mean, I think that you would be able to pull off an amazing Dee Dee.
I listen, I'll add that to my cosplay list because she was one of my favorites. She was so ditzy, but she just, and he was, oh my God.
Yeah.
I could go back and watch that show all over again.
Jenny oh God, I can never say his name right. Tartakovsky. He's actually going to be at C2E2.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
And I mean, we're talking about the man that gave us Dexter, that gave us Samurai Jack.
Yes.
That gave literally almost all the cartoons that were on the Cartoon Network block. He had a hand in.
Yeah.
Or created.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
I'd love to meet him.
Oh God! If I
I'd
was going
love
to
to.
Chicago for C2E2 at the end of the month, I would be there.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we've talked so many good shows. We didn't really talk about the food stuffs that I want, but we could always revisit that another day.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that people can weigh in. The faithful travelers always have their wonderful reminders of things that even we forget.
Yep.
So
So if you have anything, let us know.
yes, hit us
Absolutely.
up on the Facebook, hit us up on the Instagram, leave a comment on the Podbean, on the Spotify. It doesn't matter. Tell us what you want us to talk about
Exactly.
when we do Volume 2 of 90s Nostalgia. So we're going to start breaking it down. Mr. Oh So Smooth, I want to thank you for joining us on the Volume 1.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's been a little too long, but
I'm sorry.
Welcome back. I think this was a great show, so I'll give you a round of applause for that one. I'll give you a round of applause. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot, and
Learned or remembered a lot.
Both.
I'm gonna go with both.
Both,
I'm
yeah.
gonna go with both but you know what? It makes me really think whenever I think about these shows or even the candy, like at least say we brought up. It makes me always go.
Yeah.
It makes me think that because that's America. This is what America gave us, and
Even when it was anime.
Yeah.
even when it was it was
Even-
played
yeah.
on American soil, so
Yeah.
you know I had that opportunity.
It was
to watch.
dubbed because we weren't prepared for that sub life. Sorry, Mr. A-Town Ryan. We weren't prepared
at that
for
point.
that.
You're too young to want to sit there and
read.
It's like I want to watch.
I wanna watch
I go
what
to school
happens.
to read, and I hate that part. So like,
If I want to see
Using your
destruction,
big school words, just use normal people words, and I'll understand what you're talking about.
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't use your big school words.
Don't use big words.
Yes, but thank you so much for coming out and joining us for the return of the gate. Once again, the flames have burst out of the pyre, and I'm so glad you were here. And also with Lithy now being on the cast, I'm so glad that you also are now a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean,
this is exciting. This
Yeah.
is so much fun, and I can't wait.
yeah, I can't wait to see what the future brings. We're obviously coming back to do another 90s nostalgia.
Absolutely.
We have to. I mean, the 90s was so jam-packed of everything.
Everything,
That-
even with the commercials.
Yeah. Trust me. We can cover an entire show just on the commercials
Absolutely.
alone.
Oh.
But guys, travelers, we love you. Again, subscribe to the Facebook, subscribe to the Instagram. Give us your T-shirts.
I want the T-shirts.
Send us your teas. Show us your teas. And you will be featured on the Instagram page and the Facebook page. Follow us on YouTube for more exclusive content that you will not find on any of the other social media. And that's all there is. Tune in next week.
Yep.
The gate is back on Wednesdays. Sometimes we'll be live. Sometimes we won't. Stay tuned on the Instagram for those announcements.
Yes.
So we're out of here for this week. Guys, peace, love, chicken grease. See you later.
See you later.